As the black SUV rolled through the gates of the White House on the evening of March 31, 2025, Dana White stared out the tinted window, reflecting on the sheer absurdity of what was about to happen. The UFC president, known for his blunt honesty and unwavering loyalty to his friends, was about to sit down at a dinner table with President Donald Trump, Kid Rock, and shockingly Bill Maher. He chuckled to himself. Only Kid Rock could pull this off, Dana thought. Just days earlier, Dana had received a call from Kid Rock. "Yo, Dana," the musician said casually, "how do you feel about dinner at the White House? Trump's in. Maher's in. I want you there." Dana was floored. "You're joking, right? Maher? That Maher?" "No joke, brother," Kid Rock replied. "I think it's time we shake things up. Real people. Real talk. No media filters. You in?" There was no hesitation. "I'm in." Now walking through the ornately decorated halls of the White House, Dana felt the weight of the moment. He had been here before many times, but never like this. This wasn't a UFC event, a campaign speech, or a ceremonial visit. This was different. This was history in the making. He was greeted by White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, who led him to the Roosevelt Room, where the dinner would be held privately, no press, no handlers, no aides. Just 5 powerful men and whatever conversations they dared to have. When he walked in, President Trump was already there, seated comfortably at the center of the long table. Kid Rock, dressed in a sleek blazer and jeans, was pouring himself a bourbon. Bill Maher, noticeably less comfortable, stood near a bust of Theodore Roosevelt, eyeing the surroundings with cautious curiosity. "Dana," Trump said with a grin, standing up to shake his hand. "You made it. Great to see you." Maher turned, smiled politely, and offered his hand. "Big fan of the UFC," he said. "Never thought we'd meet here." Dana grinned. "Yeah, me neither. Wild world we're living in." Dinner was served with zero fanfare. Steak, crab cakes, asparagus, and a bourbon bread pudding that had allegedly become one of Trump's favorites during his second term. The initial moments were tense. It wasn't hostility, it was anticipation. Each man at the table knew the public perception of this dinner would ripple far beyond these walls. But soon enough, the ice began to break. Trump recounted the story of how Kid Rock had convinced him to allow the dinner. "I told him, Bob, you're crazy. But if Maher has the guts to show up, I'll be there." Maher laughed, shaking his head. "I told Bob the same thing. I thought it was a trap." Everyone laughed. Dana leaned in. "So why did you come?" he asked Maher, genuinely curious. Maher took a deep breath. "Because we're losing the plot in this country. People don't talk. They cancel. They scream. I figured if Kid Rock and Trump can sit down with me, maybe we're not as far gone as I thought." That struck a chord with Dana. Exactly. It's about time someone had the balls to just talk without worrying about a clickbait headline. As the evening went on, conversations flowed more freely. They talked politics, sports, pop culture, and even, surprisingly, mental health. Trump asked Dana about fighter discipline. Kid Rock shared how the music industry had changed since the digital age. Maher spoke candidly about the emotional toll of constant public scrutiny. "I've been called every name in the book," Maher said. "But you know what? Sitting here with people I never thought I'd break bread with, that's a win." Dana nodded. "It takes guts to be here. Respect." By the end of the night, the walls that had divided these men outside the White House seemed to have faded, if only temporarily. It wasn't that they had all become best friends, but they had done something rare in today's political climate. They had listened. And as Dana White walked back to his SUV under the soft lights of the White House portico, he looked up at the stars and whispered to himself, "Now that was real." 3 days after the dinner, Dana White finally agreed to do an interview. He chose Full Send Podcast, known for its unfiltered, no BS conversations, the kind of platform where Dana could speak freely, no PR handler needed. "I gotta say," Dana told the hosts as they leaned in, "that White House dinner, it wasn't what anyone expected." The episode dropped within hours and the internet exploded. On the podcast, Dana broke it all down, not as a press release or a spin job, but like a man who had just witnessed something few Americans ever do. First of all, Dana began, "Kid Rock is the glue. None of us would have been there without him. He just called me up like, 'Yo, I'm putting together the weirdest dinner in the country. You're coming.' And I'm thinking, what is this, some Hollywood prank? But nah, it was legit. Then came the bombshell. You know what shocked me?" Dana said, pausing for emphasis. "Bill Maher and Donald Trump actually agreed on more than you'd think." The host's eyes widened. "No way. I'm serious," Dana continued. "They both think the media's full of crap. They both hate cancel culture. And they both love this country even if they see it differently. Dana recounted a moment from the dinner when Trump asked Maher, point blank, "So Bill, do you actually believe I'm the worst thing that's happened to America?" Maher took a beat and replied, "No. I think your followers scare me more than you do." Instead of flaring up, Trump chuckled. "You'd be surprised how many of them just want jobs, Bill." That one line? It stuck with Dana. "That's the thing," Dana said, leaning into the mic. "We don't talk like that anymore. We shout. We meme. We cancel. But we don't talk." The next moment Dana described had the podcast hosts laughing so hard one nearly spilled his drink. Apparently, during dessert, Kid Rock, half-buzzed on bourbon, pulled out a guitar and started playing an acoustic version of Born Free. Maher groaned jokingly, "Oh great, here comes the conservative national anthem." But then Trump started humming. And so did Dana. And unbelievably, Maher joined in for the chorus, just the chorus. "I wish I had a damn camera," Dana said. Bill Maher, Donald Trump, and Kid Rock singing together at the White House? That's either the start of a joke or the end of America as we know it. The podcast blew up overnight. Clips circulated all over social media. A hashtag White House dinner started trending. Everyone wanted to know. What else was said? Who really changed their mind? Was this the start of something new or just a bizarre one-off? Later that week, Dana appeared on Fox and Friends, then on the Joe Rogan Experience, where he went even deeper. Rogan asked him, "So was this just a PR stunt or something real?" Dana didn't flinch. "It was real, Joe. You could feel it. No cameras. No media. Just guys sitting around a table, having the kind of conversation America's been needing for a long time." Dana admitted he didn't agree with Maher on everything. Hell, he didn't even agree with Trump on everything. But the dinner proved one thing. Civil discourse isn't dead. It's just scared, he said. And if we don't bring it back, we're screwed. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Pundits left and right scrambled to frame the dinner their own way. CNN called it a risky play by Maher that could alienate his base. Fox News hailed it as proof that Trump's leadership can build bridges. Twitter was a madhouse. But somewhere between the noise, Dana's voice broke through. Because he wasn't trying to sell anything. He was just being Dana. Raw, honest, and unscripted. And to millions of Americans who were sick of the yelling, the fake smiles, and the clickbait headlines, that meant everything. Within a week of Dana White's podcast revelation, the White House dinner had become more than just a dinner, it was a cultural event. Memes popped up with Kid Rock labeled America's Last Honest Diplomat, and Bill Maher, in a MAGA hat photoshopped, trended with the sarcastic caption, "Red Bill Redemption." But behind the online chaos was something quieter, more powerful. People were talking. Not arguing. Not yelling. Talking. On April 7, 2025, Dana White was invited to speak at the University of Florida for a lecture titled Unfiltered America, Why the Dinner Conversation Matters. The auditorium was packed, students, journalists, political science majors, and a few UFC fans who showed up just to hear Dana say F***K cancel culture live. He stood on the stage, no script, no teleprompter. "I didn't come here to say the dinner changed the world," Dana began. But maybe it lit a match. He talked about growing up around hard-working people who didn't care if you were left or right as long as you showed up, worked hard, and told the truth. That dinner, he continued, wasn't about agreeing on everything. It was about daring to sit down anyway. He told them about a moment most people hadn't heard yet. Near the end of the night, Dana said, Trump leaned back and said something that hit me like a truck. The room leaned in. Trump had looked around the table at Maher, at Dana, at Kid Rock, and said, "You know why we're really here? Because we still believe in America even when we can't stand each other." Dana paused. That moment? That was bigger than politics. That was truth. Backstage, after the talk, Dana got a call from Kid Rock. "You killed it, brother," he said. People needed to hear that. Then he added something unexpected. "You know, maybe this wasn't a one-off. What if we made this a thing?" Dana laughed. "Like what dinner series, The Misfits of Democracy?" Kid Rock didn't laugh. "I'm serious, man. People are listening. We bring folks from opposite ends together. No cameras, just real talk. At diners, bars, wherever. Make it raw. Make it American." Dana paused. "You'd really do it again?" "Hell yeah," Kid Rock said. "I already got names in mind for round 2. The buzz around the White House dinner only intensified when Maher finally spoke up. On his HBO show Real Time, Maher opened with his trademark sarcasm. "Well, folks, I went to dinner with Donald Trump, Dana White, and Kid Rock. No, it wasn't a dare. And yes, I'm still alive. The audience laughed, unsure where he was headed. But you know what? Maher continued. They listened. I didn't agree with everything. Hell, I didn't agree with most things. But it reminded me of a time when Americans could argue over beers instead of blocking each other on Instagram. That line got a standing ovation. He ended with this. I still think Trump was a terrible president the first time. But I also think our culture is so divided right now. Even talking to someone you disagree with is seen as betrayal. That's the real danger. The crowd was silent. That night, #TalkAcrossTheTable trended across Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok. Clips of Dana's podcast, Maher's monologue, and photos from the dinner circulated like wildfire. Young people started hosting their own talk dinners. College campuses organized bipartisan events. Cafes in Nashville, Phoenix, and even Los Angeles started putting up free speech tables for people to just sit and talk. No phones, no yelling, just conversation. But not everyone was thrilled. Hardliners on both sides accused Dana of being a sellout. The Daily Beast called him Trump's latest pawn, while Breitbart criticized him for validating the woke left. Dana didn't flinch. I'm not left. I'm not right. I'm real, he said during an interview on News Nation. And I'm not gonna stop just because it makes the loudest people mad. That statement? It became a t-shirt. Sales skyrocketed. By mid-April 2025, what started as a private dinner at the White House was now making national headlines in a way no one expected. Not for scandal, not for controversy, but for what it inspired. Major news outlets had begun referring to it as the dinner that changed the temperature in American politics. CNN aired a primetime special titled Across the Table. Trump, Maher, and the conversation America needed. It showed reactions from everyday Americans, from a teacher in Iowa to a combat vet in Texas, all echoing the same message. I didn't know we were allowed to talk to each other anymore. Meanwhile, Dana White, never one to shy away from action, took the idea Kid Rock casually pitched over the phone and made it real. On April 20th, 2025, in a dusty saloon just outside of Las Vegas, the first episode of The American Table was filmed. No lights, no teleprompters. Just 2 folding chairs, 1 GoPro camera, a pitcher of beer, and 2 guests. Senator Tim Scott and comedian Dave Chappelle. Dana introduced it simply, "This isn't about who's right or left. It's about who's real. Welcome to The American Table." The show was uploaded to YouTube, and within 24 hours, it racked up over 10 million views. Comment sections were flooded with messages like, "Finally, someone gets it. This is what we've been missing. I didn't know I needed to see Tim Scott and Dave Chappelle talking about weed, religion, and the Constitution. But here we are." Kid Rock joined the second episode. The third featured UFC fighter Jorge Masvidal and rapper Killer Mike. Then came veterans, teachers, single moms, a retired coal miner, and even a transgender conservative from Wyoming who had the crowd silent with emotion. "I don't fit in a box," she said. "And I don't need to. America was never supposed to be a box." The formula was working because there was no formula. Just raw, human, unscripted talk. Back at the White House, President Trump wasn't letting the dinner's impact go unnoticed. During a Rose Garden press briefing, he smiled, almost smugly, and said, "Some people thought inviting Bill Maher and Dana White was crazy. But sometimes crazy works." Reporters laughed. "What this country needs," Trump continued, "isn't more division. It's more dinners, more talks, and less cancel culture crap. Let's be honest. When Bill Maher and I can sit at the same table without throwing punches, maybe there's still hope." That soundbite led The Late Show and Fox News alike. Everyone had their take. But the American people, they were tuning in because for the first time in a long time, the story wasn't about who won, but about who showed up. Dana, meanwhile, was already planning the next season of The American Table. He announced they'd be taking it on the road, small towns, big cities, diners, boxing gyms, even prisons. Anywhere people had something to say and needed someone to listen. He was asked in an interview, "Dana, do you think the dinner at the White House really changed anything?" He paused, then gave his most honest answer yet. "Maybe not everything, but it reminded us of something we forgot. We're not enemies, we're neighbors. And neighbors talk. That dinner didn't solve America's problems, but it reminded us we're still allowed to try. And that was enough.